Hi, this is Steve Wiedemann. In this video, we're going to walk through providing a great experience to mobile users, and we're going to talk a little bit about something new here in 2014. It's been around for a few years, but new in terms of becoming a web design standard called responsive design. And on my screen here, you see a domain, media queries, with a .es here at the end. This is a really fun sort of a showcase website of responsive designs, and it shows you what a site might look like on a desktop, on a tablet or iPad or Galaxy tablet, or if you've got a tablet conversion computer or laptop, this is what the site might look like. If you're on an iPad mini or a Galaxy Note, this is what the view might look like. And of course, if you're on a smartphone or an iPhone or a Galaxy S3 or S4, or an HTC, whatever, this is probably what the website might look like. So it shows you the different views. And that's very important so that those people who are on those devices can have hopefully a better experience than having to spread their fingers apart on a browser and trying to zoom into the content they want. So first and foremost, again, I mentioned responsive. If you have a responsive website, you don't necessarily need a separate mobile site. If your responsive site has been set up so that this single column sort of emulates what a mobile website might look like. So let's look at a couple examples of sites that provide a really good experience for mobile and are on a responsive framework. So let's go to radius.com. At radius.com, I'm going to pull this tab out of the browser so that we can play around with the responsive design. And we're going to scroll down a little bit and perhaps to this section here. And we're going to show you desktop. This bumps into a tablet. See how it still provides the same experience. Notice the imagery at the top, right? Expands and collapses with the size of the browser. And now let's go into a mini tablet. Let's say somewhere around here. Notice how there's no horizontal scrolling left and right. And it still looks very good. Paddings, margins, everything looks great. The text isn't running into the edges of the screen. And it's still very easy to use. One thing you should notice too is that Radius, the top menu, went from being a text-based menu to being a drop-down menu. So here you can navigate to different parts of the website very quickly and easily from your mobile or your mini tablet. Let's continue looking at what happens when we go into being a mobile. So on a mobile site, everything runs into one single column. And again, alignments and spacing and everything look great and provide a good experience. So that is radius.com. Let's take a look at another site, Mongoose Metrics. So Mongoose Metrics, we'll take this tab out, same as we did for Radius, and let's expand and collapse our browser. Here's the top navigation. You can see the image in the background. You can see some image blocks over here. So let's go ahead and collapse a little bit and see what happens. Watch how it expands and collapses as I move the browser. Let's watch the top navigation as I get into being a tablet here. So now the top navigation went from having a horizontal nav to now having a drop-down. And they chose on this one to use a smaller navigation, which could be problematic for somebody who is on a smartphone. As we collapse this into smartphone mode, you can see that it doesn't span the width of the page, so it might be a little harder for the user to tap. So Mongoose Metrics may look at improving their top navigation by making it a full-width menu. Let's scroll down and look at some of those blocks. Notice how the blocks a minute ago were a certain dimension, and they went 3 across. As I collapse, instead of it being 3 across, it jumps into 1 across, and it expands the image to make it much larger. So now I can scroll down and see a single column with those same images. And of course, here's the form at the bottom and some textual menu options in the footer. So this is Mongoose Metrics, another great example of a responsive design. The last one is a site called Event Apart, another one of our favorites. I have a particular favorite element I like on this one that relates to the menu. So let's look at how this site, desktop, tablet, mini tablet, and then mobile. And mobile looks like it's not going to collapse more than this one. I don't know if it's just Google Chrome or maybe because I have a lot of menu items up here. So yeah, I had a lot of buttons up here. So we're going to go ahead and collapse all the way to mobile. And now you see the menu at the top. Now here's something I really like. Check this out. Instead of it having a drop down, when you click on menu, it just scrolls to the bottom of the page. So I'm on the bottom of the page now, and the menu is right there. So it's a sort of a jump to or a link that's already on the web page without having any sort of menu structure. And why this is unique is because it requires less CSS or JavaScript and helps the site load faster because it's just a jump to link. Just jump to the bottom of the page. So no CSS or anything required, helping the site load much faster. So very, very cool element. So this is what it would look like, the site would look like on your smartphone. Again, no horizontal scrolling required, and a very clean, beautiful user experience across the board. No issues with spacing or padding or margins, no text running into the edges, just a very clean, optimal user experience for somebody who's on a mobile device. What about e-commerce? What about purchasing? Let's take a look at one of our favorite e-com sites, bobswatches.com, which you'll probably hear me talk about a lot in different videos. bobswatches.com. Let's wait for it to load here. So bobswatches.com is an e-commerce website that uses a responsive design. Again, you've got the expand and collapse. Notice the background image disappears as you get into a mini tablet or into a smartphone. So this gives you an example of how you might handle e-commerce. So here you've got a list of products. There's 5 columns across on desktop. Also, there's this nice floating navigation at the top, which I love because it makes it very easy to navigate through the website or to see the phone number or to interact with social media. So as we collapse, the 5 columns go down to 4, 3, 2, and finally 1. So really excellent experience, and of course a nice easy option to scroll to the top. So this is e-commerce. Let's go into an individual category, perhaps Rolex President, if I'm on a mobile device. So on this category page, we can see, of course, our keyword theme, Rolex President. We can see a video. The video probably should be a little more elastic so that it expands the width of the page. And as we scroll down, you can see some context, and then, of course, the actual products in that category. Very easy to tap and purchase or sell a particular item. Let's go into the product detail page. So on the product detail page, you see the name of the product at the top. You see the product image. You can also view the different views of the product image. You probably want to have it lined up a little bit better. Or maybe even just provide all of those different views for the mobile user. But overall, it still looks presentable on a mobile device. I don't have to zoom in with my fingers. I can see some social media. I can engage easy. And then the buy and sell buttons are here, easy to click on and see. So definitely some room for improvement from a design perspective, but very good from a purchasing perspective. You can get to the product page quickly, easily, see the image of the product quickly and easily, see reviews of the product, and of course purchase very quickly. So there's an example of an e-commerce website, and you could easily just Google examples of e-commerce responsive designs and see other ways that people are doing responsive for a store or so forth. Anyway, so this is Steve Wiedemann talking quickly about how mobile experience plays into search. How this affects us really quick, I don't know if I mentioned this, but how this could affect us from a ranking perspective for a specific keyword really gets into a user returning to Google and choosing a different result. That end of day user experience, a high enough pattern of people doing that, of going to a website, saying, hey, this sucks, and going back to Google, provides a signal to them that that was probably not a good experience for the user, and it may affect your ranking long term. One tool that I like to use to test with, if you want to goof around with different devices, is the Opera browser emulator. And to do this, mobile browser emulator, just go to opera.com/developer/mobile-emulator. So going to this site, you can download Depending on if you're a Windows or Mac or Linux, you can download the tool, pull it open, and choose the device you want. In this case, I'm going to choose the Samsung Galaxy S3. Click on Launch. It'll launch the browser emulator, and then I will go to a site like an event apart.com. Oops. Let's do event apart. All I have to do is get the spelling right here, and we should be rocking. Cool. So let it load. Now you can see what your site looks like on any particular device. And if it's important to you, you'll take an hour or two and you'll go through every device and see what the experience looks like. And if the experience is somewhat weird or quirky for a particular device owner, then make the necessary adjustments to make sure that you've thought about everybody. Because you don't want to exclude even 1%. You want to have a great profile with the search engines when somebody does get to your website and makes the decision whether they're going to stay or go back. So that's the browser emulator by Opera. And we introduced media queries for a showcase. I showed you 3 sites: Radius, Mongoose Metrics, and an event apart, and a way that you can test your site to see if it's providing a good mobile experience. One last point on this that you could think about is you can go to your web analytics. Let's pull up web analytics really quickly, and you can look at specific information about your users. So on top 10 SEO tips here, for example, I can go to mobile, and I can choose overview, and I can test to see if I'm providing a good experience to mobile users by looking at conversion rates. So I can see that my conversion rate is almost higher on mobile and on tablet than it is on desktop. So I'm probably okay. However, if you look at your own web analytics and you see that desktop is 5.85 and mobile is 1 or tablet is 1, then there's an obvious opportunity to improve the experience for your mobile and tablet users. And if you want to look at specific devices, simply select devices over here on the left, and you can look at the specific devices and how they're converting. And if you see that BlackBerry isn't converting well, don't worry, because BlackBerry is an awful experience anyway. But if you look at any of the other devices, like an iPad Touch or Samsung Galaxy, and you see that there's a problem, that might encourage you to open up your browser emulator and find out what's going on and let your web developer know to fix the experience. Anyway, this is Steve Wiedemann walking you through a quick tutorial on providing a great experience to mobile users. If you have any questions, please shoot them to me in the comments below, and hopefully we'll see you on the next video. Thanks.